Hey guys, what's going on? It is Ash here coming at you today in Clash of Clans with my friend, my buddy, my pal. You can see him right over there, Powerbang. What's going on, man?
What's going on, Ash? Just really happy that I'm floating here all by myself in your video. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Hovering over there, it's
That's
weird.
what I'm talking about.
But actually, we've been talking about. For those who didn't see, we had a collab, kind of like an Ask Me Anything from Estonia collab, and we asked you guys for ideas to kind of work together on a more consistent basis in the future, and read through some of them, some great ideas that you guys gave us. So thank you. But for today, we're just going to talk about the balance changes that hit yesterday, or they hit today. They announced yesterday in Clash of Clans. A little surprising. We didn't even get a big heads up on this, PB, and wanted to get your take on things, give my take on things, and then speculate maybe a little bit about what might be coming in the massive update.
Huge update. That's the rumor, anyways.
It's not the rumor. They said it. So we can quote them, right?
They did say
yes.
massive, right?
The word massive was used. I'm going to flash that on the screen right now, maybe over you for a second here. So you're going to be hidden. And yeah, so this is posted on the Supercell forums. Basically, they said that this is not the big update, this balance change thing, but the big, massive update is still coming. So there's a lot of hype. The hype train is definitely going strong. You know, we have a little bit of an idea on what's coming, but we don't know everything. So I wanted to get your take before we hop into the actual balance changes. What do you think is coming, or, you know, just in terms of what are you looking for, you know?
You know, I feel like with all of the comments that we get on our videos, we're a pretty good proxy for like what the community wants to see. So I hear all the time in my videos that people want to see something new, something fresh, something different than just the run-of-the-mill balance changes that are tweaking troops, nerf and buff cycle, that type of thing. They want to be entertained. And what better to do that with than a new game mode? So I'm really hopeful that we're going to see something big, new. I heard Galadon saying it was going to be like the biggest thing since Clan Wars. Who knows? It might even be bigger. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, that's definitely. I mean, I think it has something to do with the ship because they put that Easter egg. They've put the ship Easter egg on like everything that they've released in the last few months. So I'm totally guilty of hyping up the ship on social. As you can, I'm sure you've seen.
I've noticed you.
Have you noticed?
Prodding a little bit. Yeah, a little bit, man.
Yeah.
But no, it would be cool if they brought, you know, the ship or a ship or some sort of nautical equipment to the game in some fashion or another, since there's that bottom quarter of the screen, you know, that's just like kind of hanging out there.
Yeah, so I think the ship is coming, but what it holds along with, what it brings with it is really anybody's guess in terms of, is it going to be like Boom Beach meets Clash of Clans, or is it going to be something totally different, you know? So we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, we can't share any really more than that, unfortunately, but it should be coming relatively soon, so at least we hope. But we did get news of the balance changes yesterday, so I kind of wanted to dive into those things with you. I'm going to flash those on the screen for you guys as well in case you missed them, but I'm sure you probably know what they are already. I like a lot of this stuff, and I dislike some of this stuff, but before I get into my opinions, overall, PB, how do you feel about the entire thing?
I kind of echo your sentiments there, and I actually ran a poll in my little Plex chat room to kind of, you know, basically ask the audience, so to speak, like, what did you guys think? The 4 options that I gave were, do you like this? And it was yes, no, I like most of it, or I like just 1 or 2 things, right?
Wait, didn't you have like a I love Molt in there too, or something like that?
No, he missed out on this poll, but maybe we'll get.
That was the previous poll. Poll.
Yeah,
my
absolutely.
Bad. My bad.
Absolutely. Nice one. Nice one. But no, like 90% of the feedback was positive as far as like, you know, who was excited about this, you know, update, this balance changes. I fall somewhere towards the upper end of that spectrum. I like most of it. We had changes to the air defense, the miners, the hogs, witches, dragons, and pekkas. Those were all of the things that were mentioned in the update announcement that came out literally just a few hours before the update went live. But I think I'm a fan of pretty much all of it, with the exception of the witches.
Okay, well, let's start there then, because I actually don't like a couple things, but the witches is one of the things that I love and I hate, because I love witches, but I really, yeah, you know that, but at the same time I totally agree that, wow, I mean, the witch spawning rate increase, do you know the actual rate increase?
I don't have any facts or figures behind
Yeah.
that yet. I'm going to be doing some testing. I hope to run that out here in a video, maybe today. We'll see.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, I don't have any figures, but I am a little bit scared, to say the least.
Yes. I mean, they nerfed the witches to hell 2 or 3 balance updates ago.
Right.
And then they were totally useless. And they stuck by their guns. Same thing with
They did.
miners. And they said
for
that
6-8 months, a year,
Yes.
however long it's been, and now it's like they're throwing them a freaking bone.
yeah,
I mean,
now they're like, you know what? We're gonna give them an HP buff last update, and now we're gonna increase spawning rate again.
So to get specific though on what I dislike about this change is a lot of these tweaks. Self-admittedly from Supercell, they're trying to make certain troops more used, right? They're looking at their analytics, finding troops that are underused right now, and they're trying to get them back into popular usage, or at least to the point where they're not completely neglected and ignored, similar to what the miners have been after the buff. But what they've done with the witches is they've taken the single most dominant ground army at Town Hall 10 and Town Hall 11, and they've made
what
it
is that
much
called, PB? What is that called?
It's Bowlers and Witches, Ash.
It's Bewitched, I think, is what, right? Is that
Or Jaiweebo, or yeah, we could go on and on. There's a billion names for these army strategies, but I'm just gonna like call out the troops by their name. Bowlers and Witches, baby. So
yes.
that's what it's called. But they've taken that single most popular ground army, and you are just the master at baiting people, right?
Whoa, what you call me, man? This is a family-friendly
baiting
YouTube
people.
channel, PB.
I'm
Don't
just
bring
saying.
your filth around here.
Oh my God. I'm just saying, you try to bait me into saying these things all the time, and now here you are calling me out on your family-friendly
See how
channel.
the role reversal there? I don't know.
Touche, my friend.
Mind out of the gutter, please. Power bang from Whiz on Her Face Clan.
Oh
Can
my
you
God.
get to?
I don't even know what you're talking about. We're WHF through and through.
Oh, my bad.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, witch spawning rate. So yeah, it makes that attack even more
makes
dominant.
It so much more dominant, but like what that does when you have an attack that is that strong, it makes people at that town hall level question, why would I use any other army, because this is so effective. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I think that's the problem is, if obviously they were watching the CWL finals, and wouldn't you know, I think 8 of the 10 attacks we saw live were all that strategy. Bowlers and Witches dipping down, 3-starring Town Hall 10s relatively easily. It's not a 2-phase attack that they've always promised they wanted to promote. It's not, it's not rocket science. You drop a few bowlers on the flanks, a few witches on the flanks, and then just the rest of the core. So definitely that's going to make that strategy even more viable. It already was. I mean, to say that a strategy had that high of a success rate, especially when loons were dominating as much as they were, I mean, that's saying something, right?
Oh, absolutely. And see, I still love my loons. I'm a big era guy as far as like this meta is concerned. I think they're super strong, and I preferred the balloon attack strategy simply because there's more control throughout the raid. If things go wrong, you have the ability to kind of adapt by delaying deployment or maybe speeding up your deployment later on in an attack. So it's not necessarily like a multi-phased attack, but at least you have some sort of variance as far as like how the base gets destroyed or shaped with the balloon army. But with Bowlers and Witches, it's like everything is on the field in the first 10 seconds of the battle, if not sooner.
Yeah, you drop your troops and that's it.
It's like you can control your spells at that point, but it's just like cross your fingers that, none of my important stuff hits a giant bomb, or like the queen goes down, or we get to that backside inferno in time. It's just a big luck of the draw thing at that point. And while the troops are strong enough to make it through 80% of the time or more, there's still that, crap, I failed and I really didn't do anything wrong. It just was the luck of the draw.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. In terms of the other stuff that came, you were happy with, we'll kind of just gloss over some of this stuff. The P.E.K.K.A. levels, damage increased from 3 to 5. The Dragon levels, 4 to 6, damage increased. Those two, anything, stand out to you there? Or?
I was a big fan of their heavy, like hard-hitting power a couple updates ago. And then they took that away in favor of, more attack frequency, but less hit points being dealt, So I wasn't necessarily a huge fan of that, but at the same time, it didn't bother me a lot as well, with the exception of the P.E.K.K.A. In many cases, now that damage had been reduced, there were many buildings that he would one-shot before. And now that building was left with like 1 HP or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And giving that damage boost back to the P.E.K.K.A, he's now going to hit that much harder, and that building will now go down instead. So he can move on and waste fewer swings, which actually, even if it's a very minimal buff to the damage being done per hit, it still could have a really big impact on how useful that troop actually is in the game.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I agree 100% on the P.E.K.K.A. I think, P.E.K.K.A and Dragon have kind of reared their heads into the meta a little bit. It's certainly more than they had, before 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago. So it's good to see them actually get a little bit even more of a boost now. Hopefully they can kind of contend with now, miners and witches and bowlers. Speaking of miners and hogs, those are the other two. HP increased on both hog riders 5 to 7 and miners all levels. So, it's hard to say without knowing how many. Did you take a look at that yet either? Or no, I didn't.
I have.
Okay.
And all of this is rumored. Again, nothing's confirmed yet, obviously subject to change at any time. The developers can tweak things up until the last minute or even after stuff's in game. But from what I saw, it was that the level 5 buff to the hog riders was very minimal as far as their HP buff. But, it still gives a little something to the ground armies. Now, at Town Hall 9, I don't think that was needed. It makes it even easier to 3-star now at Town Hall 9, which is getting, admittedly easier and easier as these updates continue to roll out. It's kind of going the way of Town Hall 8 as far as relevance goes.
Yep.
Not trying to offend any career Town Hall 9 players. I know they take super, super great offense, like I'm personally trying to kill their fun. That is not the case. It's just an observation of like what the game is doing. And it seems like more focus is being paid on the upper Town Hall levels. And I don't necessarily have a problem with that.
Yeah, me neither.
Because I feel that it's healthy for everybody to progress in this game that we play rather than sit stagnant, which does nothing for really the community or the developer itself that continues to provide the content. So that's just, my outlook on things.
No, I totally agree with you there, man. I think that for so long, Town Hall 10 was in that weird, awkward situation where no one wanted to be there because it was just too difficult to 3-star there, and the balance was so out of whack. But now, the two things happened. A, like you pointed out, Town Hall 9 has gotten so much easier, and at the same time, Town Hall 10 has also gotten a little bit easier to make people less, less inclined to stay that life for Town Hall 9.
We're seeing right now more people hit the button to go to Town Hall 10 than I've seen ever. I mean, we've got Career 9 saying, all right, I'm not really challenged anymore. I'm going to hit the button and go to Town Hall 10 because you know what? That actually looks pretty fun. And I agree. I think it's in a much better place than it used to be. The Town Hall 9 glory days, remember, that was when there was no Town Hall 11 at that point in time. It was Town Hall 10, and at that point in time, unless you had some funny business going on, you think you know what I'm talking about, you weren't getting 3 stars at Town Hall 10. It was like you were shooting for a solid 2 and maybe some percentage. That was just the way things were. So at that point in time, I don't blame Town Hall 9s at all for saying, this is where it's at. This is where we're having fun. And the hit rates for Town Hall 9s at that point in time as well were like 40 to 50% rather than like the 70+% that we're seeing now.
Yeah, no, all good points. It feels like we're in the same boat in our clans. Not only are a bunch of our 9s going to 10, but also we're trying to recruit 10s.
Right?
We're looking for 10s.
And that's something that you guys have never done before, right? You've always been 9s and 11s.
yes, because 10
it was because of the fun, right? At Town Hall 10,
exactly.
People were having a good time playing it, but now they are.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, now Town Hall 10s are in demand. Even in CWL, I imagine everybody needs really solid 10s.
Absolutely. If anybody is looking
Elite
for
Gaming.
a solid plan, Elite Gaming, and as well
turn Powerbang off. Yeah.
I'm just playing. I'm not going to use
the last thing I saved for last on purpose is the air defenses. The air defense level upgrade time and cost, no issues with that. But the new air defense level at Town Hall 11, level 9, is, to me, I think I would have rather seen just a slight buff to air defenses. I know it's kind of a minor thing, but in my mind, it always gets to that point where air is finally viable again. Some would argue it's a bit OP, but me personally, I like the fact that you can see average players, above average players with the correct amount of planning, they can actually have a shot at 3-starring a base using mostly these air armies or hybrid air armies, you know? So that's why I think that maybe that was a little bit too far. I understand that if you're going to add new defensive levels, there's only one spot to do it pretty much. It's Town Hall 11, you know? And I understand that's obviously the line that you're always kind of, you know, walking, but at the same time, I was kind of a little bit bummed to see that.
To answer that point specifically, I don't have a huge problem with it right now. At face value, the theory behind it all, I don't necessarily have a problem with the extra air defense level at Town Hall 11. I'll get into that in a minute. Now, I will reserve the opportunity to change my mind on this. I'm not going to be like, today, day one of the update, here's my opinion, it's set in stone forever. A lot of people, you know, hop on the bandwagon, oh, Powerbang thinks it's too easy, bruh, and then it's just, that's what it is for
Powerbang's ruining the game.
Powerbang! Oh, damn you, Powerbang. But no,
this game would be good if Supercell didn't listen to the YouTubers.
Exactly. So my thoughts on the extra air defense level at Town Hall 11, right? It's the only place that it really makes sense. Now, Town Hall 10s hitting 11s is very, very popular, but you don't see a whole lot of air-based attacks when you're trying to secure the 2-star on a Town Hall 11 base. It's almost always bowlers, Valkyries, and then like occasionally baby dragons outside of the range of air defenses. So, you know, that's not really
for percentage, yeah.
Play, right? You're gonna pick off some percentage there, hopefully avoid the seeking air mines. So I see very minimal impact to the viability of 2-star strategies, 10s versus 11s. Looking at it from a 3-star perspective of Town Hall 11s versus Town Hall 11s, there's been very little opportunity to see exactly how viable those strategies are in mixed clan wars currently because of the ratios that are being run in those clan wars. When there's, say, 5 Town Hall 11s, 14 Town Hall 10s, there simply are, you know, a lot of Town Hall 10s that need to be cleaned up. And because the difficulty at Town Hall 10 is more difficult than Town Hall 11, because you've got the extra spell and you've got the Grand Warden, hit rates are actually higher hitting 11 versus 11. We've got guys in our clan that can probably hit at somewhere around a 50% rate. I've seen guys in the Dark Looters. Granted, these are upper echelon players, top of the food chain, but they're hitting over 60%. And that's really, really good, you know? So I don't necessarily have a huge problem. And then to like dive into like the theory behind it a little bit more without getting too long-winded, the air defense is something that is going to chip away at your heavy hit point units much, much more quickly, such as a Lava Hound. With the meta being what it is and loons being so dominant, I feel that entries with your heroes to pick up an air defense or maybe a small kill squad to pick up multiple air defenses or an Inferno, you can still get away with running minimal hounds. I'm talking like 2 Lava Hounds in an army and bringing like 30 plus balloons, and you're really not going to see that big of an impact because it's still going to take, what, 3 shots or whatever it is to take down a level 7 balloon. You know, I don't see it changing a whole lot as far as the dynamic of some of the 3-star strategies. Yes, it will make minimal impact, but I don't think it's going to be game changing. That's my thoughts on the air defense. Definitely reserve the right to change my opinion after I played it a little bit.
Yeah, no. It's a good point, especially with the army composition. You know, and even in some of these 3-star attempts or 3-star successes at Town Hall 11, you know, oftentimes you see the unpopped hounds. You know, so I guess that, to your point there, that, you know, maybe that's not such a bad thing. You're still, you know, the Lava Hounds, you know, hopefully they'll still survive. Hopefully will still be viable. But, you know, I agree with you. You know, you made me a little bit of a believer, PB, in terms of, it is a good point, though, about the, you know, Town Hall 10 should still be easier to 3-star than Town Hall 11. You know, I definitely agree with that. So,
I agree with that, and it's not there right now. And I think this brings it more into balance, but it doesn't necessarily make Town Hall 10 easier unless the miners and the hogs and the P.E.K.K.A.s have a pretty substantial impact. And I think that's kind of where it remains to be seen what that does to the hit rates and like what types of armies are being used.
Yeah, like is Boner going to come back?
Yeah, one thing that we didn't talk about was the miners. I was just getting to that.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it depends on the HP difference. Right now, I don't know. You know, like, was it a huge buff? If it is, then welcome back Boner, and, you know, bye-bye, or not bye-bye, but, you know, they'll start to push into the popularity of the air attacks, especially at Town Hall 10 and 11. You know, I think that I mean, Boner got a lot of hate using bowlers and miners. It got a lot of hate as a strategy, but I actually really liked the strategy, and I didn't think it was that spammy, compared to like the old school mass witches or totally mass miners. I mean, that's where I have a problem with spam attacks, when it's just 48 miners or whatever, 54 miners.
To give you an idea of miner hit points, miner only level 2. I've neglected to upgrade them because they were quite crap before.
Yes.
600 hit points right now at level 2, and they go to level 4. So I'm guessing probably in the neighborhood of 700 plus hit points on those units. That could make a pretty significant impact.
Yeah, let me check out mine now. This is great video.
I know, right? This was obviously well planned and thought out. And we had a huge script that we're doing.
All right, so the max miner has 700 HP.
That's a big buff, I think. I want to say.
Yeah, what did it used to have? That's the question, though. I
want to say it was like 550. I'm not 100% sure on that, but that's a pretty substantial buff right there.
Like you, it's been so long since I've even looked at the poor fella.
Exactly.
It's just like, But okay, so yeah, I think that could be definitely a good thing. I was not a fan of the miner nerf. I mean, I would have rather seen an indirect nerf to miners, but they nerfed them into oblivion, aka they just fixed glitches.
They fixed glitches, but they're gonna fix like 4 major mechanics at the same time and completely make it useless.
Yes, yes. So
I don't know.
I'm hoping they're actually viable. Personally, I think that I don't like to see a troop get no action. So
I'm the same way. Like, I don't like the huge spammy like 48 miners and 7 in the CC, so 55 miners.
Yeah.
Drop them with 8 fingers and then sit back, collect 3, profit.
Yeah.
I was not a fan of that, but I also don't think that there should be troops in the game that are just completely worthless in every scenario, in every type of attack. Like, you don't bring them to farm because they're too expensive for elixir, unless you're going only for DE. You don't bring them in war because they just suck. They're not going to 3-star anything. So it's like, I want to see them get some use, but I don't want it to go. I don't want the nerf buff cycle to go all the way to, one end of the pendulum to the other, which is what I'm afraid may happen in this scenario. But again, too early to tell. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, it's something that they need to really, I don't know, I'm not speaking about this balance update, but just in general, getting better at when they do release balance updates. I have a lot of faith in the team. I'm not trying to take shots at them, but sometimes they tend to overreact, like over buff or over nerf, and then the troop goes, like you just kind of said, skyrockets in spam attacks, or it's totally dead. So I just hope that these, it's too early to definitively say, so I think we've been pretty good at, keeping an open mind, but at the same time.
On that exact same point, like the bases that go around the community, there's a trickle-down effect, because you've got like elite base builders out there that are kind of on the forefront of trying to build to counter specific strategies that are quote-unquote overpowered. And by the time people come up with a way to counter what's effective, and those actually are disseminated amongst the community via war replays and YouTube and media and all this stuff, it's almost too late. Like, people were just starting to be able to be like, oh, I can defend against that. And then the meta would naturally shift. But then there's this sweeping change that comes in that buffs whatever it is that, or nerfs, you know what I mean? It comes in right at the end of like where it was going to kind of stop being effective. Or as effective as it was before anyway. So I feel like it's kind of goes both ways. They're quick to act and make like really big sweeping changes, whereas smaller tweaks may be necessary more often. But I don't know what the realistic ability for them to make that happen is or not. But
yeah, I mean, one idea is just more frequent but less extreme balance changes. Kind of like, I hate to say the other game, but kind of like that other game does,
Don't do it.
But yeah, basically, I mean, the only thing we didn't mention is the 25 new level 12 walls. Not much to talk about there, except for the fact that I think they're just slowly kind of onboarding the full level 12 walls.
I kind of like it just because it's not as overwhelming.
Yeah.
You start that process, right? Like, where it's like 25 walls. Yeah, I can knock that out over the next month or so.
It's doable.
Yeah, I can get that. But like, when you look at 275 walls and you're like, 4 million a wall.
Crap.
You're like, oh my god, a billion resources. Oh, forget that. So I think that this is a smaller bite to be able to chew and a little bit more manageable. You'll probably see more people tackling those smaller pieces of walls.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a great way to do the new walls. If they were going to do them, which I was a fan of in the vast minority, but I'm a big fan of doing it this way. So kudos to them for that. And dude, I think that's it for the balance changes. We talked a little bit about the update. Love having you on. I know the viewers love having you on. Any parting words for us, PB?
I do not have any words of wisdom, but I will say congrats to your clan and your war clan specifically, Elite Gaming, for making it to CWL Invite next season.
Thank you.
I hope to meet you guys on the battlefield.
I hope so. I think we do. I forget what week it is, but look at the schedule. But yeah,
I'm pumped, man. I haven't looked at it much myself as far as like our schedule specifically, but
yeah,
you guys are always a blast to play against. Big shout out to your crew and leadership in Elite Gaming. I know you guys are going to surprise some people.
Thanks, man. Same to you and the WHF family and all the Banger Nation. Really appreciate you coming on, man. And again, guys, if you have any ideas for us to collaborate in the future, let us know. Anything, as corny as challenges against each other, or something like fun and low-key, or something serious like a talk like this about, balance changes.
That's right.
So
super
PB,
rigid and stern.
Super rigid here. Super rigid. So, PB, thanks again, man. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me on. Goodbye to everybody. Take care. I'll let Ash sign off.
Yes. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Make sure you check out my YouTube partner, Bren Chong, chilling right below Powerbang there. You can point to it. There it is. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. And as always, take care, guys.
Take care, guys.
Stealing my line!